Okay, so we're gonna do the lab 10. We didn't really have a lab 9 because the concept was kind of about ISO and standards and regulations. Um, but we are going to use John the Ripper today and Hashcat to do some password cracking and hash evaluation. Okay. I do have a disclosure on here because my YouTube videos, but so we're using this for educational purposes only. I don't hold liability for any kind of illegal or unethical behavior outside of just the exercise itself. Okay. So we are going to use Kali Linux. You simply downloaded Kali. So here's Kali Linux. We're going to download the version for VirtualBox. I have that downloaded. Then I need to go find my downloads and I need to extract it. So right click, show more options, 7-zip, and extract files. Easy peasy. So once we're done extracting it, we want to be able to load it. You want to give your Kali Linux a little bit more resources. So you should up your RAM to 8 gig and up your processor to 4. I think that's good enough. Since, you know, the hash and the encryption uh analysis process is gonna we use Hashcat. It's fairly quick anyways. It's not intensive, but in any type of password cracking or crypto analysis, you want to make sure that you have enough processor and RAM for your system. Okay. And then also good network connection if you for remote type of testing. Okay, so I've done extraction for my Kali. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my VirtualBox app. And we can add the virtual machine. So click add. We're gonna go to the downloads folder where it was extracted. Open that up and locate my VBox file. So go through the subfolder. And before we start the machine, we're gonna change our setting. Go to settings, and then for system, we're gonna up our RAM to 8,000. And we're gonna change our processor to 4 core. And then we can start. So with that, we have done step 1 through 9 or 10. Once our system is booted, we're gonna go ahead and access the login screen and type in username and password. Then we're going to open up terminal and we are going to update our Linux machine. We always do that first. So let's log in. And keep in mind that John the Ripper is included with Kali Linux. If you're using a Debian-based Linux that doesn't have John the Ripper, you need to install it. And you can refer to their documentation for that. The same thing with Hashcat. So for part B, before we go into part B, we're going to, let me move this to the right so we can see the step. We're going to open up our terminal, which is going to be 12. And then after step 12, we're going to do a sudo app update. For step 13, we're going to input our password. And this is going to take a minute to update. Then we're going to create a text file, right? We would start with some kind of file. So we're going to do a text file, and assuming our text file is going to store a bunch of passwords. So Once I've done the update, I'm gonna make a file. So, and my file is just gonna be in the home directory for the user account. So we're going to do nano using nano text editor to create a text file called secret. It's gonna open up a blank file here. We're just gonna do password 1 as our text in the file. After that, we're going to save it. So at this point, I'm gonna hit Control X, and then to exit, it's gonna say, do you want to save? Say yes, press Y, press enter. After that, we're going to create a password protected zip file. It's like you zip the file and then you are going to add a password to it. So we're going to use the tool called zip. We're going to do a zip, and we're going to do an E for encryption, and we're going to do a secret dot zip. That's the output file that we're going to create, and we're going to do secret dot text. So the original file we had created here, we're going to use it, and we're going to zip it, and we're going to password protect it. So when you issue that, it's going to ask you for your password. So we're going to say Callie. And this is the password for the zip file. And then we're going to confirm that. Same password, Callie. If it's successful, it's going to tell you that it's deflated, and it's adding the, so when you zip it, it just modify the file by changing its file header, right? And so now it created the secret.zip that is password protected. So we want to take oh no, not yet. In the next step, then we're going to take a screenshot. So in order to crack the zip file to extract the hash, we're going to use John the Ripper. And there's a feature in John the Ripper called Zip2. John, this is going to allow you to crack a zip file. So we're going to do a zip to John. And then you can copy and paste this, of course, secret.zip. We're going to output that by using the arrow, and we're going to output that to a file called zip hash.txt. So if it is successful, right, it's going to make a directory with the extension John, and then it's going to take your secret.zip or secret.txt, and then it's going to make it into your secret.zip. So we're going to screenshot this. Now, Kali Linux already have the word list directory, but you can do sudo app install word list, or you can go and find a Git repository that have the word list. So we are going to look for it first. And by default, it's going to be under these folders. So we are going to do an ls to list, and we're going to do an lh/usr, which is the directory. And then we're going to do a user share folder, and then access word list with an S. So in those subfolder, you would find a bunch of different type of files, or word list files. So there are word lists for fast track, and then DNS map. But you notice that there's RockU, and it is in a GZ format, which is a Linux compression type of file format. So you can, to answer the question for 21, you just need to count up how many word lists are contained inside here. There is also John word list, right? That's basically a password word list for John the Ripper application. And then there's word lists for Nmap and so on. And then you can also use it for WFUS. So The other word lists for the other application are also contained inside these folders. And so we can see that there's RockU. This is the one that we're going to use. So you can answer those questions. And then to extract your word list, you simply move into that directory. So we got to access those folders. And then once we're inside the directories, we're going to do a sudo. If you don't use sudo here, it's going to give you a permission error. And we are going to do a gzip-d rocku.text.gz. The reason why that we are going to use a -d here is for decompression. And we're going to use a tool called gzip to decompress, right? That means we're going to extract the zip file or the gz file that's called rocku, which contain our password list. And when that happens, it's done. So remember that we're inside the folders here. We're going to move back into the home directory by doing a cd command. Once we have moved back to the Kali home directory, we're going to then use John the Ripper along with the word list that we had extracted against the zip hash.txt file that we had previously created. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this, but you can type it. And so it would load the password hash from the pkzip. It runs 4 open MP threads, and this is what you see with on how these type of security applications for password attack. It uses multiple threads, right, to make it faster. So the way that they write the application is using multi-threads. And then it shows that I have a cracked password for my zip secret file. So it showed that there. Now, depending on the technology that you use for, but if you can see here that because the hash is already been evaluated, it's able to find the password quickly. So how many passwords were cracked? Right, you should be able to see that there. Oh, we should do the next one. So we want to see the actual cracked password status information. We're going to run a John command from John the Ripper. And it should tell you, yes, it cracked one password for the file. Now for the next part, we're going to use Hashcat, and we are going to crack a hash password with Hashcat. This is a tool that we can use to evaluate the hash algorithm for stored password. And so we talked about having different hash algorithms. So for Hashcat, these are the mode value that it uses. So for the bcrypt, it uses the -M3200. So next we can redo the update again. And then we're going to bring in a package called whois, because whois is going to allow us to use the next command to create a hash value for our file. So basically, whois gonna allow us to generate a hash for a file. Okay, so sudo app install whois. And there are multiple ways to do this. You can use another tool, but this is an easy way. So it tells me that it's already been installed. If you don't know, you can also ask Linux or Debian Linux which whois to see where it's located. But I want to make sure that it is installed. And then once I have the whois here, I'm going to use the next command, which is going to be mk password. So make password, and it's going to be generating the hash algorithm SHA-512. So we're going to just do SHA-512. So basically, we're going to generate a hash here. And then for the password, we're just going to use the same password, Callie. So once that's done, it's going to generate this hash. I want to make sure I copy. And take a screenshot. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make a file that's going to contain the hash value by using echo. And remember that I had copy here, so I'm just going to go ahead and paste it with the exclamation point. And then do a hash text. So once we have a file that contains our hash, we're going to use Hashcat to evaluate that file. And remember that we're going to plug in the appropriate mode value. So your mode is going to be 1800 because of the SHA-512. How far did you get? Okay. Let me pause. Oh. Okay, so we got a hash, right? For step 27. And then we put that for number 28. This is my hash here. And then for 29, you're going to do an echo with a single quotation mark, and then you're going to paste that hash value that you copy into the command. So it will look like this, like echo and then quotation mark, and then you're going to right click and paste in your hash from the previous step. Close the quotation mark and then right here. Yeah, after you did the make password command, it's gonna ask you for the password, right? I type in Callie and it gives me the hash right here. Yeah, and I want to copy that and I want to use that and insert it into my echo command where with inside the quotation mark, inside the single quotation mark. And then basically we're going to take the hash value and put it into the hash.txt file, right? And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to use Hashcat and we're going to have it analyze the file. We're going to crack it. And we're using 1800 again because our hash is 512, right? The SHA-512. So for 30, basically you're using Hashcat for SHA-512. And we want to evaluate the hash.txt file. using the wordless rock-u. Very similar to John the Ripper that you did, but using Hashcat. It's just another tool. Now, while it's running, you can also press like the character, but we don't need to. It doesn't take very long. It's just going to be a few minutes. So take a screenshot, and then when it's complete, and then you're going to put down the status. So it evaluates this many passwords. It requires this much storage, right? And it uses the file that we told it, which is the rock-u file for password crack. It's gonna append. So and then we wait for it to be done to answer number 30. Then after that, what we're gonna do is we are going to double check. We can verify our hash, what type of hash that is, and we're gonna use a tool called name that hash. This is a better tool to use against a file. You can also use hash identifier. Okay, so it tells me that it cracked it using hash mode 1800, which is for SHA-512. That's what we use, right? This is our hash. And so it matched the guess 100%. So we can screenshot that and then we can answer the question. It cracked it. And how do we know it cracked it? Here's your password. So this password is matched with this hash, right? That's how. So now we're gonna install name that hash. So we do sudo, oops, app install name dash that dash hash. Type in the password. Once that's installed, we're gonna go ahead and use that tool to determine the hash type of the hash.txt. So we're gonna say name that hash -f for file hash.txt. And if you're not sure, you can use the command name that hash -h or /h, and it's gonna give you the help option. So this is a form of hash identifier. It tells me that it is a 512 SHA, SHA 512, and your HC is 1800, which is what you see with the mode for that we use throughout the two programs. So you can use this or hash identifier. Then we can attempt Hashcat similar to what you see with, I think we had the same thing for 30, but we have additional option. We're gonna do a dictionary attack for the crack.txt from the hash.txt using the word list that we extracted. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. So we're gonna put it into crack.txt. So we output it to file. Oops. So a little bit different than the 30 is for 30, we output the result into the hash.txt. Now we're going to take that file and we're going to input it into the application, and we're going to try to crack it, and then we're going to put the information into crack.txt. Our result is into crack.txt. And so it's done, right? Now we're going to read that file. So we're going to do a cat crack.txt. Oh. Sorry, I had the this is empty entry. Oh, this is just all found. So it should be able to, but when I cat it, it's not showing. No file. Yeah, I did not generate it. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so that should work. Now it works. I think I might have issued the command wrong the first time, so we're gonna do cat crack.txt. Oh, no, it's still not finding it. Save. You can just take a screenshot of that. Yeah, I have to fix the problem here because it looks like when we use the hashcat command here, let's try it without the dictionary attack. Or the output option. Doesn't like. Dash A0. Backup text. So if we do. Yeah, so screenshot, I think I have to fix this right here. Um, 1 second. I tested this. Did you get a status on yours? Give me 1 second, okay. A0, 0. Tested it earlier, it was working. Yeah, I have to fix that. I don't, I think we might have missed something. Let me see. That worked. I'm trying to output it to here. Let me. Feature for input and change starting auto detected mode. Yeah, so just you can screenshot it like that. With the cat, I think it's not because if it doesn't produce it. Yeah, it's not able to generate a file. So I gotta go and look back to see if maybe I've not documented one of the steps. So pick a screenshot, uh, and then answer the questions. Kind of summarize what you've done in the lab, like how you Use John the Ripper and the Hashcat. So John the Ripper, you see that it's similar in that we use John the Ripper to crack the password of the zip file using the same word list, RockU. So yeah, we created a zip file. We applied a password to it. We extracted the hash, and then we use a word list to crack the hash or the password using the hash. And then in part C, we use Hashcat. And well, first we use who is make password command to create a hash. Then we insert that hash into a text file. Then we use Hashcat to crack the hash. Then we use name that hash to identify which hash it is or verify. And then lastly, we attempted to crack the hash and output it to a file. But that did not take. So ultimately you have to think about how your hash is used to store passwords and the type of hashing algorithm is implemented, right? So even with the SHA-25512, you see that it's still vulnerable to attack. Okay, and then strong password policy. Okay, I'll stop recording.